I had some technical issues on the previous class in the previous class I just finished teaching, so I hope that those are all taken care of. Had to start I finally was able to start the class like 10 minutes late, and nobody who had showed up was still on the call. So I'm grateful that you three are here. Thank you very much. Did you guys have a good weekend?
Yes. My kids and we're in the SpongeBob musical in Bluffdale City, so
Well, that's awesome.
it's not my like I don't know the musical well and I don't necessarily like love it, but it's a way for my me to connect with my kids. So it's
Yeah,
fun.
stuff like that. They're not going to remember. Most likely, they're not going to remember how well you danced or any of the words. They're going to remember the time, and I think that's the most important thing to remember anyway. So
Yes.
I love SpongeBob because that is one of the most socially self-critical explorations that people can look at today. And it's not designed to hurt people or offend people. It's designed to offend everybody. So in that case, everybody enjoys it.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
one
good
of my
point.
favorite SpongeBob SquarePants episodes was a reenactment of Kill Bill with Sandy the Squirrel being Uma Thurman,
Oh yeah.
and it was all about SpongeBob being kidnapped so that he could learn about timeshares. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
Good one.
Right. Well, today what I wanted to do is we do have about a half dozen houses that were turned in, um, which is disappointing because I wanted to be able to look at all of them, and I want everybody to be able to help me with the critiques on these. And the critiques are I they are in relationship to the parameters of the assignments. And if I'm talking about things, I am on the spectrum. I may be unintentionally offensive, but that's, like I said, it's unintentional. And it's not about your capacity or ability as an artist, because I know you guys all have that already. It is all about, how does this fit the parameters of the assignment? So I wanted to remind people of that before we go into it. So let me share my screen here, and we're going to look at the first one. Oh, Anna, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I have all of my photos, but they're not edited. Should I put them up there now and edit them later?
I would like you to, if that's okay, could you do that?
Hmm.
Excuse me, and I haven't graded them yet because I wanted to do that after tonight. But if you would like to put those on really quick, then we can look at your stuff as well and talk about it. And we'll talk about it as if they are edited or whatever. So, whatever disparaging or noxious comments I make about your unedited photos, just remember that I said it was okay and, just ignore them.
Hmm. I'm
But
gonna
if
make
you,
some big changes to them, but hopefully it
yeah,
works well enough.
what's your last initial?
T.
T? Okay. If you want to go ahead and upload those, I'm going to go ahead and start going through with the very first one. And if we get to yours and they're not uploaded yet, we'll talk about something else, then come back. Is that okay?
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right. Excellent.
thanks.
Okay. This is odd to me. I'm trying to share something and the screen share is acting weird. Okay, here we go. Excellent. It's working now. All righty. So this is the first one that we're looking at. And I want it. I'm really glad this is the first image because it's a really fun one. And remember, I was talking about you want to make it so it's sturdy, it's well constructed, and it's fun to take pictures of. This one is looking like it meets that. I mean, I love the visual texture, the painting and stuff. It looks like the door has cutouts with the windows in the door, and then you also have these windows that are cut out there. This person, it looks like there's not a lot of physical texture. It looks like it's visual texture, but I think it reads pretty well. So let's And if the houses are not really solidly put together and you do lose any points for that, if you've already taken all the pictures, then what I would, and you want to get more points for a solidly constructed house, then rather than redo all the pictures, what I would recommend is you can rework the house and then resubmit it with all the pictures you already turned in, plus an image that you mark as the house being reconstructed. And if that's the case. But yeah, what I'm seeing on this is it does look like there's cutouts there. It looks like a fun kind of thing. And I'm liking the different images so far. Okay, here's a close. Yes, you can tell that it looks like there's curtains on the inside of the windows and stuff, and that's really kind of fun to see. I'm really liking these different settings. I think it's kind of fun. It looks to me like the house isn't really solidly built, but I don't know if that matters as much because it looks like they painted all the paper and stuff. And what we're seeing is the paper's distorted because of the painting on it, is what I'm thinking. And what I really love, what I think helps with the construction so much is that they did do cutouts in there, and you see the blinds in front of the door, and you see the curtains behind the windows, and I think that those are really nice touches. So these are really fun settings. That's enjoyable to see. Okay, this I think is a fun one. I'm liking the house. You, the windows and doors and stuff like that. There's different planes that are going on, and then this is just balanced in a tree. And it looks to me like the image is sideways. Yep, it's hanging from a tree. That makes it even more fun. Oh, this is a nice setup for a picture. I kind of like that, where you have an actual building in the background and this in the foreground, where it almost looks like I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the 1950s era monster movies, but they did a lot of trick photography where they could make a lizard look really gigantic because they would put it like right in front and have the scenery behind it. Oh, this is nice and dramatic. The one thing I don't like is the hand in the shot. We have talked about that a little bit. Um, but in case anybody missed it, you want to do your photos without your hand. So, and I think if this is like the unusual lighting and stuff like that, then we'll let it go. But I would recommend not ever putting your body or your hand into the shots for this class. I'm thinking next week I want to um, I did a little video that shows how to build your own infinity screen. Okay, let's see. I thought we already saw this image. Saw that image.
What's an infinity screen?
I'll tell you in just a second here. Okay, it looks like these two images are identical. And I don't think that's, or if they're not identical, they are so similar. Well, they're not identical, but they are so similar that they do the same thing. And I don't think that that really fits what we were doing. One of the bad examples that I gave is somebody making a house with a diorama and then just walking around the house and taking 5 different photos as they walked around it. And this doesn't feel like there's a lot of difference in these two. And I think maybe if the big thing, if one is far away and one is close, maybe the big difference would be, oh, this is a good one, would be taking another shot where you don't see that table at all and the camera's even closer to this house. But those first two look really, really similar. Okay, an infinity screen is a screen that you make that doesn't have any features cluing into depth. And the easiest way to do this is to take like a white pillowcase, or not pillowcase, but a white sheet and set it up on the floor and then tuck the top. Let's see, you tuck one end of it onto couch cushions and then you kind of drape it off the couch so it doesn't come straight down on the floor in front of the couch, but kind of curves towards you. And then you weight the end that's towards you. So what you've made is a slope that comes towards you and kind of loops down off the front of the couch.
Okay,
For
so
this,
something you kind of see as like a professional photographer do when
right,
they're
and
taking pictures.
it's called an infinity screen because the white makes it so that you don't have any identifiable features, and without a crease in the background, it makes it look like it goes on forever. And when you're taking your own photos, um, if you have a crease or you have an area where the floor joins the wall, it is very distracting and it looks terrible. So that, and if do you guys know where the photo lab is in the room 519?
I haven't spent a lot of time on campus. I've mostly done online classes. But do
Okay.
they have one there that we could use?
Yes. As long as there isn't a class going on in room 519 in the grades, there is, if you go straight in the front door and your kits were on the left, you go to the right, there's a hallway, not a hallway, excuse me, a countertop. And at the end of that, there is, looks like a closet door. And you open that closet door and it's a room that's like, 7 inches wide and 20 feet long. And at the end of it is some specialty lighting, and they have an infinity screen where the top of it hooks onto the wall, and then it drapes down and then towards you. So you can set your stuff at the front edge that's right towards you, come in close, take your shots, and the light kind of dissolves the background away. And so it looks like it's just in the middle of an open field of white or light gray. And that is the best way to take your photos. But barring that, you can use tagboard or a sheet to make your own infinity screen where it comes down towards you and lays flat towards you. And then you have, as it goes away from you, it goes up and drapes over something.
Okay, that's really cool.
So when you're taking photos of your own work, you don't want a wood floor and then a white wall, uh, you uh, behind it, because that horizontal line really screws things up. You don't want like toys and dishes and stuff like that around it. If you want to take photos on a table, for example, you can use an infinity screen by um, looping, and I've actually done this before, where I've taken a sheet, I've looped the top over the tops of the cabinets in my kitchen and closed the cabinet doors on it, then
Okay.
brought it down and kind of flattened it out on the countertop towards me. And
Okay.
if you, and you can put some weights on it, like, and I just use stacks of books to kind of weight it. And then I got in between the weights with my phone and I put the sculpture on the infinity screen, and then I was able to take a picture of it, and then I just cropped it so that you don't see the books, you don't see the cabinets or anything like that. You just see the sculpture with this featureless sheet background.
Okay.
And
Cool.
it needs to be, you can either use like a 15% gray, which is a very light gray, or you can use white, but you don't want to use any print on the sheet or anything like that. And I actually, you can actually also get a really inexpensive canvas drop cloth from Harbor Freight that you can use. It does give you a little bit more texture than I normally like, but I've gotten sheets for like $3 at Walmart and iron them. Iron one so that it's pretty flat. I fold it in half, short end to short end, and then that makes it so that it's not translucent. And I use that as the infinity screen. And that's the easiest way to do it. The sample video that I made is only like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long, and it was a really wrinkly sheet, but it still works.
Okay.
And
You
because
said
what you want
light
to
gray
do,
is the best color to use?
what's that?
Did you say light gray was the best color to use or
I think the best color is white,
white?
barring that, a light gray.
Okay.
And the one in the photo room, I think, is a very, very pale gray.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't get on campus, and I'll show that next week is what I'm planning on showing that little video. I'm on the road right now, so I don't have access to, I couldn't find the video, but I will get it and show it to you guys next week so you can see that. All right. So I'm going back. In this critique, I'm looking at the houses and the settings. And what I'm looking at with the houses is, do they look intentionally constructed? Are they well constructed? Are they going to endure the rigors of moving them around? Are they fun to photograph? And then we're looking at the 5 settings and stuff. So, um, Kelsey, thank you for those questions. Those are good questions. Okay, now when I'm looking at this house, I really like this. Okay, notice that the windows here, they're cut out and they have some paper behind the cardboard. It looks like this door is a fun door. Most of the texture on the door is drawn on. Most of the texture right here, like the brickwork and stuff, is drawn on. You look at this house, there's shingles that are made out of cardboard, and then they're all painted white with this kind of texture drawn on. This is not going to be confused. Somebody's not going to be able to do miniature photography for a major film or anything. But for our purposes, I think this is a really beautiful house. I love it because there is so much visual texture to it, and it looks like a really fun construction. So first we have let's see. Okay, this is the work log. Okay, and this person, they labeled each of these images, which is awesome. So we've got, oh, Kelsey, this is yours. Your ears are burning. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry, I
unexpected.
accidentally put my work log in here and I got confused. But I did put it in the right spot.
Okay, and
I
I
just
think
things.
I thought I had edited it out, but I may have asked for the work log as well in this one. I was so I appreciate you guys putting it in both places. So this is the unexpected lighting, I believe.
Yeah.
Go to the shirt. Go to the
Okay, and then unusual placement. This is a fun one too. Oh, it looks like the door is not all flat. It looks like the door has two different layers to it. So there is some physical texture in addition to the visual texture.
Yeah, I did. I added more to it because I wanted it to pop.
I like the unusual shape of the house too. Makes it fun. I really liking all these different setups. It doesn't look to me, if you're reusing locations, it's not obvious, and that's really nice.
So scary.
Thank you. I did use different rock structures, but when you were talking about the other one where it was still on the table and the building behind it, I was like, oh no. But it does look really like the same place, but I did go to different spots, but they're all the same rock type. So
Yeah, I think these I really like the 5 different settings, and I really appreciate you labeling the different images. Like somebody turned in one that they were all PNG I can read, but there's like a PSG or something like that file that my computer can't read. And it was I know I told everybody no HEIC files, and I think this PSG file is another one that my computer can't read. And it's just with the different phones that people have today, sometimes the phones will default to a certain file type that the manufacturer of the phone loves, but nobody else uses. And that could sometimes be really frustrating.
yeah, I can imagine.
But it's easy there's lots of free file converters that people can reference online. Yeah. I think this is another fun house, fun construction. The door seems really flat, but some of the things that I really like about this is I love the detail spent on the roof, and you have these awnings over the front windows, and it's obvious that the windows are cut out with the white, and I love the white trim on the black background. I think that's looking really interesting. Oh, this makes it look so lonely. I love that sunset. That's bouncing in the tree. That's great. And I think we've seen all of them.
There's one more that this one has, and it's black and white, and it's on a fence post.
There it is.
I
This
was
is
really
really
impressed.
interesting.
I was really impressed with the photography on this one. It's just gorgeous.
I
On all
like the
of them,
fact that
just so
it's
good.
the way that it's lit with the black and white paint and stuff. This makes it look like it's glowing almost. That's very interesting. Yeah, I think this is another really good example. I think this starts off as a good idea, but the construction isn't quite up to what I'm expecting. And if the person does want to get more points for construction on something like this, they don't have to retake all the photos. They can just they can amp up the texture and stuff. And I think the reason why I'm saying that is I think all the person would need to do on this is do some dry brush with a couple tones of brown on this, and that might be all they need for the visual texture on this roof line. I'm wondering if like scribing these lines in to make it a little bit harsher texture, because this just it it's a fun idea and it's a fun design. It's not quite up to um it's just not quite there, I think. And I'm wondering, there's a couple different things to do. I think one would be dry brushing with a couple different shades of brown on this. And I think that would really amp up the texture on this. And this right here, painting it with something um, like watered down Elmer's glue even, and just painting it with that and doing like three coats of that would gloss this all over and give it a really interesting texture, and that might be kind of fun. But I think it's a fun house design. That's kind of a fun placement for it. Oh, this is a great picture. I love this. This makes me think of when filmmakers do black and white, and it's just everything is really crisp and dramatic. This is a really nice shot. I like that. This is kind of a fun one too. Very different settings. Oh, I like this, where the only light comes from behind the door. That's kind of a fun one too. So I like those five different photos that turned out nice. Okay. I don't I don't know if this is the only image.
Oh, she just wrote a comment about it in the chat.
Bruh. Oh, let's see this again. Let's see this again. Bruh. Look, Minecraft mobs.
Okay. All right. So it's still in process. There's just one image right now. Okay. I think that this is a really good start, and um, I want to talk about this because I think this is uh, we looked at the other houses and stuff like that. I think I love what the roof is doing. I really like this kind of trim idea. On this, if this is still in the process, I think it might be nice. It would be really cool to cut out a couple windows, cut out a couple rectangles, and then just with some other paper, make frames that you can put over those. Do the same kind of thing with the door. And this is really interesting that the background here, and I'm thinking just a dry brush or even just taking and putting shoe polish on it, like a brown shoe polish, would make this look super weathered and would be very, very interesting. And I kind of like the design in the background. Um, what I'm saying about the shoe polish is it would make it like right now it's printed cardboard, but applying a little bit of shoe polish and wiping it off so that it just stains the cardboard would make it look weathered. And you could do it so that it follows the grain of the cardboard. And you can see the corrugation lines that are vertical on this, and that would be very, very interesting, I think. But I think that this would really benefit from cutting out a couple windows, cutting out the door, and then after staining the whole thing, applying uh, cut out trim for the window frames and the door frame. I think this would really be spectacular. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is a really interesting texture for the roof, and I love that. I love what you've done with the dark trim here. And I think that it would really benefit from that. Just breaking up some of the space with windows. And then when you do the rest of your photos, you can even put those little flameless tea lights inside. and take a photo or two with that. Putting if when you guys cut out the windows, you can take parchment, cooking parchment, and just with um, marker, you can color the cooking parchment like a warm tone or a gray tone or any tone you want, really. And then after you color it with the markers, you paste that on the inside of the window hole cutouts. And then when you light it with a candle, tea candle on the inside, it makes the windows glow. And gives a really interesting lighting effect, and it's super cheap. So yeah, I think this has a lot of potential. I think this could be really exciting. So Anna, were you able to um, upload any those images?
I'm picking them out. I think I have too many.
Oh no. Well, if you want to just upload a couple, then we could just look at them, when you're
Mhm.
ready. And
Um,
because like you said, you aren't finished with making the images or anything. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna move on and talk about something else while you work on that, and then just feel free to let me know after you've uploaded a couple images so we can look at the house.
mhm. I was wondering what was the size limit for uploading, like the image size?
I don't know if there is a specific image size, but my access to Canvas starts bogging down if the images are bigger than about a meg.
Hmm.
If they're about a half meg, then each that's ideal, I think.
Okay, I'll size them all down and submit. Thanks.
All righty, and just let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up module 2 now and look at that. So, but I appreciate that, Anna and Liv. I love where you're going with the house. I think it's a beautiful start. It's looking really good. Did I already whine to you guys about the end of last semester? I was not able to do a lot of things like sharing my screen and stuff like that. Uh, it was frustrating because I don't I don't have an overactive spam filter on my email or anything like that. Excuse me. I just think I'm on not on all the correct mailing lists for the university, but Canvas switched to this new Teams interface called Microsoft Education, and I never got any notifications for it. Which, I'm not blaming anybody because I wasn't really paying attention. On my screen, it just showed up at the very, very, very bottom. You have to scroll down for about 30 minutes before you hit the very bottom. And once I figured that out, it was great. But until then, the last 3 weeks of last semester, I had there was no functionality. It was worse than trying to have um, everybody on FaceTime. It was terrible. So I'm saying all that because I'm very grateful that you guys are so patient and we do have all the functionality we do. So this is wonderful. Right. This module 2, so we were talking about just exploring some of the dynamics of creative photography with sculpture. On this one, we're doing something where we're doing like three-dimensional scribbles out of wire. Everybody has wire in their kits, and I wanted to iterate, you guys can use your own material too. The wire in the kit it's baling wire. It's designed specifically to let you know what kind of wire we're looking for because it gives you the strength and support. You're going to be making something that is about the size, a little bit bigger than your head. Um, so between volleyball and basketball size. I think I say basketball in the assignment, but it can be as small as a volleyball. So, um, If you guys want to, you can go to IFA or Harbor Freight and get some more baling wire. You can also find jeweling wire at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby is really good. Or if you have some of your own stuff at home, you can use that. Different colors of wires. People have found, I think in the kit it's black. It's actually it's carboned wire, which means your hands get oppressively dirty. And you can also find silver baling wire at IFA, I think, and maybe even at Ace Hardware. And it's really pretty cheap stuff. Or fencing wire is another one, as long as it's that similar type of gauge. I think it's about 16 or so gauge, 18, right around there. You can also find some of the heavier stuff in the glass and mosaic section at Hobby Lobby, in addition to the jeweling wire. So there's lots of different options. You can add your own, if you have stuff hanging out, you can use that. But when you do this project, it is extremely important that you have eye protection. If you're not lucky enough, like Kelsey and I, to have glasses already, then you'll need to have eye protection because the wire can flip around and whack you. And I would definitely recommend getting yourself just a pair of crappy gardening gloves that you can use to protect your skin from getting punctured by the wire. Because if it does happen, it is very startling.
Quick question. Did you say earlier that you want our sculptures to be about the size of a basketball? Is that what you said? Or-
Volleyball, basketball, size of your head, right around that area.
okay.
So we don't want this size. We don't want this size. We want something right around head size.
Okay. And we're not doing so like these first wire things that we're seeing right here, where it's like it's just flat.
Yeah, these are really flat. We're not thinking
We're
flat.
not
We
doing
want
that. We're doing a
3D
3D.
scribble, right? And you see these examples. This is like if you guys have 3 years to work on this thing, doing something like this is great. And you can see that the wire scribble, it peters out over there, it gets denser and denser and denser, and then the person fuses it with cast pieces for the head and the forehooves. And we're not doing that, but that I like that image because you can see what the wire is doing. And this is kind of a coalesced scribble as well. This is actually life size. We're not doing life size. And the person has done things where they've taken all this colored wire, they've wrapped it and woven it, and then just kind of let it drape. We're not doing that. Here's an example of the kind of thing we are doing. Can anybody tell what animal this is?
A cow.
It's a cow. You're right. Um, you guys don't have to even make an animal. I would you. It does need to be an object, and it should be an object that is identifiable. What I love about this is you can see it's a simple shape. The person is not trained to be anatomically exact. That's not what we're going after. Well, but what we are going after is it looks like it's a scribble, and they're tightening the scribble up for the legs. They're doing big loops for the body. So you see the silhouette. The silhouette's really important, but they're doing different things. Notice how they treat the head, the eyes, and the ear. They're doing something very differently with the wire here than they are with the four legs, than they are with the butt, and than they are with the torso. It's like every area has almost a different texture because they're doing different things. And this is what we're going for. It's identifiably 3D, it's an identifiable object, and they're playing with texture as they use it. So we have a quiz as well. And again, with all the quizzes, you should be able to retake the quizzes 30 or 40 times if you really want to. There's no reason to do that, but if you take the quiz and you miss a couple things, I'll make little comments, follow those comments, retake the quiz, get a better score, and do that until your score is perfect. There's no reason not to get a perfect score on the quiz. Now, each of these 6 artists that are on the background section here approach wire very differently. I think Ruth Asawa is her stuff just makes the OCD in me super happy. Anthony Gormley, he loves the subject matter he keeps coming back to is the human form. And he does all sorts of different permutations with the human form. And as you watch his stuff and look at his things, uh, notice that he keeps developing the form in very different ways. Sometimes the wire that he uses will be in loops, and where the loops intersect towards the center, you start seeing the shadow of a human form. Sometimes he's done several where the wires he just uses a whole bunch of wire that he makes different lengths, but he bends it all at right angles. So he has all these right angle shapes that he puts together, and then you realize the human form is where the very tips of the wire are touching. That's the human form. And so he'll do very different things. And I love Alexander Calder. He uses wire. It's almost the wire is almost an afterthought. The intent behind his thing is just to be entertaining. That's what this circus project is. It's just intended to be entertaining, and he uses wire as to make it feel a little bit goofy, you know. And so he each do different things, and I really like um, David Oliveira. He does stuff that is just very, very cool. Well, all of them are very cool, but go through. They each use wire in a very different way. And then you'll notice that in the artist review, um, I'm going to have to go back in. I'll add to this, use only the artists from the background information, that you see in the background section of this module. Um, so I'm going to write that in right now. Okay. Now I do say after looking at the 6 artists' work from the preceding background section, so I've said that twice, but I just want to make it really clear for everybody. And you notice that this background stuff is all going to be due like next weekend. And then I want you guys to be working on the sculptures and stuff after that. I'd usually try to have the artist review and the quiz done at least a week before the sculptures are due, so you can wrap your head around the ideas. But you'll notice that there's 3 paragraphs required for this one, and the 3 paragraphs are different than the 3 paragraphs for the artist review for module 1. In this case, you're picking 2 of the artists and explaining what stood out to you about their work. And then paragraph 3, you're comparing those 2 artists. So in the previous one, you picked one artist, and then in the 3rd paragraph, you talked about the several different ways that they used of involving the viewer. So each of those are going to be different. And module 3 and 4, I'm going to be uploading or publishing this week by this weekend. Okay, so now this is the assignment section of this module, the wire sculpture. This is a really important part of making the sculpture. Now, all of you guys have done line drawings and scribble drawings, gesture drawings, haven't you? Because I think that's one of the foundational things all of us go through. And what I want you to look at is like this cat, just this scribble drawing, that would make an excellent wire sculpture. That would look incredible. You can imagine that, making the body so it's 3-dimensional and then adding those legs. So I'm going to show you examples of what students have done, and these are all good examples. This rabbit, this would be kind of a fun one too, but it's a little bit on the complicated side, as we don't have an awful lot of wire, but if you want to get your own wire and bring it in, that's fine. All four of these examples are of animals, but again, they don't need to be animals. And I'll show you. This is what it looks like. This person used dock shoes, deck shoes. That's what they are, deck shoes. And I love how there's a couple things that I really like about this. Notice how the primary shapes are really, really, really simple. You guys can tell they're shoes immediately. They don't do a lot of detail. Some of the areas are wide open. Some of the areas are really tight, like up here, right up here. And then you have these little areas where the person wrapped the wire really tight, so it looks almost like a little scribble. And I think that's excellent. I love that kind of thing because it really gives a lot of interest where it's not the same texture throughout. And notice how like the upper layer right here and then the parallel bottom layer, they're connected every once in a while, but they're not always entirely consistent about the types of connections or how often they do it. Like they do it a few times here, but they don't do it in the same place in the other shoe. And it just makes it so that they feel like they're well-worn shoes because of what all the other stuff the artist is doing with the wire. And it's fun to see that. And this one, it reminds me just a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's, just slightly on the creepy side, maybe a little bit more than slightly. Some of the things I want you to look at is notice the body of the teddy bear is very open. It's almost like a hollow pumpkin. The head has a little bit more going on. You have the ears are simple loops. The eyes have a little bit more. There are a couple different loops wrapped around and then stuck on the head. Notice that where they've done the tight little wrinkling with or tight wrapping with the wire like they did over here, it almost looks like stitching in some areas. You know, the nose has a different texture. So the belly is wide open, the head is a little bit tighter, and then these arms, you have these long loops that go through the length of the arm, and then you have these coils that build up the texture. And then the legs are the same thing, but the coils are a lot more open. So it makes it visually interesting because each area has a slightly different texture to it. Now this is a cartoon character. This is Popeye. I hope you can see that. He's wearing the sailor pants, the sailor shirt. He has a tattoo of the anchor on his forearm right there. And on this, you see that the arm is almost two-dimensionally, but instead of leaving it flat, they torqued it a bit so that it does come out at it's instead of remaining flat, they've turned it and torqued it a little bit. And if you can imagine turning this around in your head, you would be able to see that better. But unfortunately, we only have the one image. But I want you to pay. You know, the torso has a lot of the scribble stuff going on to build up the texture. The face has two faces that are kind of put together to make so if you viewed it from one side or the other side, you'd only see the silhouette. But from front on like this, you can see both silhouettes. It is kind of disturbing. I'll grant you that. And then these legs, they have the same kind of thing as on the arms and legs of the teddy bear, where you have these loops that are going the length of the legs, and then you have these coils going around to kind of hold it together. And if you know, whenever you do a three-dimensional thing like this for this class, these need to be able to be self-supporting. So don't lay them down to photograph them. Do it the tweaking that you need to so that they can stand up. Like this guy's standing up. This AT-AT, believe it or not, he has enough weight right here to make sure that it can stand up. And that's one of the nice things about the wire too. You can position the legs and everything so it's standing up. So don't take photos of these laying down. I like how the box head is very, very simple. And there's this fun, the wrappings in the corners to give it texture. Yes, they do serve a function, but they also give some fun texture. And you have the machinery parts right in here where the wire is tightly coiled. And you see how the joints here kind of have more activity than the open legs. And then right here, these are reinforced and sturdy enough so it can support the weight of the walker. This one, I really like the base and I like the bird. The cage seems kind of simple to me. I think that I would like this better if after doing the cage thing, they also did just some kind of random loops, swooping loops with wire around the cage just to make this top area look less boring. But I like the hint of form at the bird, and they did a lot of detail on the base. And this, to me, it looks like a floppy sock puppet horse, and I love it. Where they've done that thing where they have the long loops for the length of the objects, and then the curly loops are round to kind of flesh it out a little bit, and they've tightened it up around the nose. The ears are very, very simple and floppy, and the tail is very simple and floppy. The neck feels more open than the face. You have a little bit of tightness on the legs, but the body is open too. I think it's just kind of fun. And this is one of my favorites, the fish, where they haven't spent a lot of detail trying to make this anatomically exact. What they have done is the eyes are simple coils and they're going at right angles to the central axis of the body. You have a lot of coily lines for some of these structures that make it feel like there's more texture there. And the little whiskers, like something like a catfish whiskers, are used to help stabilize the body of the fish so it can stand upright. Some of the fins have the stripes. You see the stripes with the over or the outside line of the outside edge of the fin. And then here, the stripes are the thing that make up the fin, which is fun. And you can see that on both sides. And the body of the fish, if you draw a line down the center, it's curved. You can't really see that because this tail is curving just in the right position so that it's hidden from the at this view. And you can see, this photo was taken on the infinity screen in the photo lab in 519. And I love that they were able to take a photo so you can really see the shadow of these lines as well. And that's just kind of fun to see. So they didn't move the camera around. You can tell that they moved the fish, and that's why the shadows are different on this one. So, but this piece from here to here is over 2 feet long. And I don't, that's way too much for this project. I want you to keep it down, basketball down to about a volleyball size, right around there. And I talk about that. Should fit roughly within the volume of a standard basketball. I have had people, like one person did a self-portrait of just the shirt that he wore to church with his tie. And it's disconcerting because this dude who did this is about 3 years ago, but he was like the heaviest goth dude you could see, just, and he looked incredible. But when he went to church, he was a completely different person. He had a white shirt and tie and everything like that. And so when he did a portrait of himself in his church shirt, all he did was the three-dimensional shirt with the tie. And it was a really cool portrait. But that thing was about 2.5 feet tall, way bigger than what I want you guys to do. So that's what that assignment looks like. And then I want you also to notice that on the discussion for it, all you're doing is submitting an image. You don't have to react to anybody else's work. So about every other one, you're going to just submit an image, and the others you're going to comment on other people's stuff. And the reason why I want everybody to submit images at the very least is, and it does alter, but I want by the time you guys are getting ready to do the video critiques, one of somebody else's one other work and then one of your own works, you'll have at least 4 assignments to draw from, to pick from. And so that's one of the reasons why I want you to share images of your work online so everybody has a lot of stuff to pick from. Because when you do your critiques, your work and then somebody else's work, they really need to be, or it won't count unless they are work that was done for this class this semester. So, all right, how you doing, Anna? Do you have anything uploaded?
Yes, I uploaded the images. I wasn't sure
Okay.
where. Do you see them?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to do a screen share right now. We're going to look at it. Now, these are not her final submission. So we're just going to click through a couple of these. This looks really fun. I really like the lighting on this. So it looks like it's out in the evening, and then there's a photo of sky behind the windows. This is a really fun lighting one. Very, very. Is this the unexpected lighting?
I think I had a few that worked for it, so
I really like this photo. I like this because you can see the texture that's going on. Um, that shows a lot of texture, and then it's on a background that has really interesting texture too. That's a fun one. I like the fact that you took so many photos, Anna, because then you can pick something out that is really useful. This is really an interesting one too. Sorry, I'm yawning a little bit. Not because of the company right now. I would definitely be yawning because of the company that I had earlier today, that's for sure. This is really disconcerting. Where I hope everybody can see this. The house is upside down and at an angle, and the camera is set up so that the house itself is framed and it's the landscape that's rotating. There was a Japanese movie, oh, I think it was called Asumi, where it's about a little girl who's a super Onabageisha, which is a female samurai. And there's this whole fight scene where she is on a balcony fighting one of the bad guys, and the camera uses her as a center point and rotates entirely around her. And it was the only camera shot since the movie Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone that made me want to vomit. A very cool movie, but that one can and this reminds me of that camera shot where the camera is rotating upside down around the main character while she's fighting. Just ugh. But I love the shot. I just don't love how my body betrays me. And I really like the little dog figure, how it interacts with the house. That's a fun interaction thing. So these are great shots. This is kind of a psychedelic shot. Reminds me of the late 60s, early 70s sci-fi where they would do stuff like this to make you believe communicate that you were in an alien world. Not very successful cinematographically, but I like how you used that in this photo. Those are fun images. I like this, Anna, and I love what the detail that you put to the house makes it feel like it is sturdy and it has a lot of really cool texture. Not a lot of visual texture, it's all one color, but you've made it so that the lighting, the light bounces off and does really interesting things. Is that what you were primarily going for?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping would happen. I thought about adding some gray paint, but I ran out of time. So,
I well, I think it's turned out really well. It,
thanks.
it's very fun. So now the biggest problem you're going to have is narrowing down what you want to um, submit.
Yeah, there
These
are
are looking good.
6 there. Were there any you didn't like as much? Any you think I
No,
should cut out? Okay.
no, that's going to be you're going to have to deal with
Uh-oh.
that. No, that looks those are looking really good. All right, these are great. I love what Liv did, what Kelsey did, what Anna did. All three of you that were on this call, they are looking really good. So I very happy with that. So next week, I think we're going to review the remaining images that come in, and if anybody gets a lower than ideal score, lower than what they want, um, feel free to rework stuff and resubmit. In fact, I need you to, so you can get the best points possible. Now, if you've taken the 5 shots and submitted them, the shots are good, but you didn't get all the points you wanted for the house construction. What I would, the best way to deal with that is work the house so that you're happy with the construction, and then resubmit with those 5 photos that I already graded, plus the updated house, and just leave a note saying, hey, I worked on the house, and this somebody did that last semester and brought their grade from a B up to an A. So, that is perfectly fine. But if you're going to rework the house, do not retake the 5 shots if I've already graded them, unless I say something like, this looks like it's the same image over again. So, and there was one person last semester who had submitted 3 of the same image, but they didn't realize that because they had all had different titles. And so they just within 15 minutes after pointing that out, they had resubmitted all the correct photos. So I have no problem regrading stuff. So that is pretty much what I wanted to cover. Um, for the most part, I did get an email that whoever's doing service learning might be interesting to know about this. Um, I give links to the on-campus service learning department, and the main contact there, their name is Sean Crossland, and they do a lot of different kinds of stuff during the term. But if you're in the service learning thing, go to that link that I provide in the uh, assignment parameters, the description of the assignment, and check it out, because on campus here, and even if you're not doing the service learning, go to the service learning department on campus, check their site out, because there's a lot of service learning opportunities at all sorts of different skill levels. If all you want to do is spend an hour and a half teaching somebody how to count money, you could probably do that. Or setting up chairs for something, you could probably do that. Or if you want to start becoming making connections and be really involved in the community, you can do that too. But they really have their pulse, I mean, their finger on the pulse of the area in Utah County. So, if that's what you've selected, go for it. Now, if both of those assignments are still showing up in your to-do list, both the service learning and the artist research, it's because I haven't registered that you have selected which path you're taking, and you'll just need to either fill that out or remind me to grade it. But looking at right now, everybody who's turned that in that section has I've graded that. And I think we still have about 3 or 4 people that need to pick which path they're going on. All right. Well, that's everything that I needed to do today. How are you guys doing? Do you have any questions about any of the stuff that we covered?
I guess this is my first time ever working with wire, and I'm. Sorry. Hey, I need you to go. I'm on a call. Do you have any? Sorry. What tools do you like to use when utilizing it?
In your kit, you should have like pliers or needle nose pliers, and those are really good. There is a learning curve, and you saw the I'm not. Oh, how can I say this? I am not expecting you guys to be an Anthony Gormley first time out working with wire. So you're just going to have to do the best that you can do. But you will find that even though the learning curve is rather steep, you'll learn pretty quick. If you wear those gloves and just try to emulate some of the textures that you see with the wire on the examples on the page, and you can also go to YouTube and look up sculpting with wire, and they'll give different examples and stuff like that, and just see what's useful to you. I think the best way to do this is to start with your scribble, have those examples up on the screen, and then just try to figure out how they did it as you're using the needle nose pliers. I find that even though I do like the needle nose pliers, I also use the vice grips every once in a while, because the vice grips, if I'm working by myself and I'm twisting the wire and stuff and I cut off some sections, it really helps to clamp it down with the vice grips so that I don't need somebody else to hold it for me. And then I can use that to twist the wire or to manipulate it in other ways. But the vice grips keep one section of it held really tight while I'm working on the rest of it. And so you said, what extra tools? I think that would be the best thing. And almost everybody has a set of vice grips. If you don't, you can buy one that, just a small set pair that's maybe 4 inches long at Harbor Freight for maybe about, I think it's like $2.99, $3, something like that. And those would be perfect for doing it. Vice grips, there's lock grips and vice grips. Vice grips, you can actually clamp shut and it will hold it shut. You don't want to do that on your earlobe. I would recommend against that. Or your eyelid. Don't do it on your eyelid. But on wire, it works really good.
Okay, thank you.
Do not take that as a challenge. That wasn't a warning, okay?
I'm pretty sure any boy watching this might take this as a challenge, but
Especially if they grow up with my brothers and me. Yeah, that's uh, it was a different time. Uh, Anna, do you have any questions? That was a great question. Thank you, Kelsey. Anna, do you have any questions about any of the stuff we've talked about?
Yeah, sorry, it was loud where I was. I actually can't see the images in the assignments on Canvas. I'm not sure why. I was looking to see if you updated the this assignment with some of the past assignments you were talking about last time, but I didn't see anything.
The I'll screen share what my page looks like, and if
Mhm.
yours isn't loading, I have no idea why.
I think
I
it
would
was,
contact tech support, but here's what my page is showing.
Which hat do you want? You can.
yeah.
So we have
So
the,
for
the
me,
scribble examples, and then we have the wire designs that other students did. Can you see this on my page?
yeah,
yes.
I can see it too on Canvas, Anna. It shows up for me, so I would just do the tech support chat and ask them. Maybe it's something directly linked to your account.
I'm not sure. My brother looked at it with like the web developer tools, and he he thinks that the image permissions are only set to the teacher or something.
Well, if that was the case, then Kelsey wouldn't be able to see it.
So Kelsey,
And
you saw all of the houses?
Yeah. So I'm able to see all of those things on my canvas. So that's why I was saying, like, I think you should just reach out to tech support because I think that's something specifically to your account. Because I'm able to see everything just fine.
now,
Yeah,
Good to know,
and there's just
Tiffany.
it's a little chat box. So you just click that little live help if you look on his screen that he's sharing right there in the corner. You just click that, and then you just type text to them and back and forth, and they can fix things pretty quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will try that later.
so
Hopefully it
this
works.
live help right here
Yeah. Yeah.
that you're
You just
talking about,
yeah.
this, yeah, they are pretty good. And then there's there if that is the other, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit with my words because I've been having problems periodically with Teams and stuff during this, and now I understand why is because they're switching to Microsoft Education, that platform. And so I have there's tech support for Teams and stuff like that that will access. And then also, if neither of those work, Teams isn't going to help with the Canvas. This is the best
Mhm.
one for Canvas. If that isn't working, I actually go to the UVU tech support directly. And if you just go to the UVU website, they do have you type in tech support there, then there is an on-campus tech support as well. So there's a couple different things that you can do.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. So
awesome.
if you choose to do the clicking live help, you click live help, and then it's like the third one down. It says chat with Canvas supports, and then in parentheses it says student, and it's just like a little text message, like you just type back and forth, and it's always been really handy for me.
Mhm. Thanks.
But yeah, I'm able to see everything on my end, so that's weird that you're not able to.
Yeah, and if the permissions are not enabled like that, it's not from my end, so I don't know. So if I go to live help and click that, you get this cute little panda with a map, which I think is just uncannily accurate. You go down here, you view status, chat with Canvas support for student right here.
Mhm.
And they usually um, respond very quickly. If you write in, this is a tragic emergency and everything's going to fall apart, crash and burn unless I get immediate help. If you say it's not a big deal, you may be on the line for like an hour before
Yeah.
you get. So
Okay.
it is just decide you're going to tell them it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, all right, is that good for everybody?
Yes.
All right, thank you guys for being here. Um, Talking to an empty room is really, really boring, and having people interact with me is always better. So thank you very much for being part of this. I'm going to post this and put it in attendance tonight, and then as soon as it goes live, the people that were on the call live, you just go in and write down 5 things you learned, and that's just fine. But again, I want to reiterate that when I'm critiquing stuff or looking at stuff, I'm looking for how it fits in with the parameters of the assignment. And so please don't take anything personally. Please don't be upset about anything. I'm only referencing that from that perspective. What has really, really pissed me off a couple times last semester is people did absolutely beautiful work that I told them to put into the student show that does not fit the assignment. So they can't get credit for it, even though it's absolutely beautiful. But it's if you take an illustration class and you submit your pottery, you're not going to get a really good score. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday.
You too. See ya. Good
All
night.
Yeah,
right,
you
we'll
too.
see you.
See ya.
Good night.